It's the final countdown. Hello and welcome to the next episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies with special guest Tim Davis. This is the podcast where all three of us went and saw a movie at our local Regal Cinema Theater. And now we're going to talk about it in the parking structure, in Matt's Time to Pilot. We're going to talk about such things as, should you see this movie? Should you not see this movie? Can you bring a date? Should you go by yourself? Can you bring your family? Should you snack, nap, or craft? Do you have to pay attention to every single detail to get the story? Or can you slack off and just, let your mind slip and enjoy the ride? We'll try to talk about all of those things, none of those things, some of those things. We try our best. We aim high, but sometimes we hit low. I am Todd Domer.
And I'm Matt Malloy, and I'm here to hit high today.
There we go.
Let's do it. Yeah, well, we saw a movie. This movie's called Final Destination Bloodlines. It's the sixth Final Destination movie
After a long break.
After a long break. The original movie was in 2000, so we've spanned 25 years of Final Destination movies at this point, which is a lot. So, Tim, tell us who we might know from Final Destination Bloodlines.
So really, I wouldn't say a household name is in this, except as far as the main cast. And that's kind of been the MO of this franchise for the most part. But Tony Todd is back, as he's been in about 3 of the 5 of the originals as a main character, the mortician that tries to help them or spook them out about what's going on in there to these characters. So he's back. Of course, he's famously known as the Candyman back in the day, and this is probably his other big franchise that he's been part of. But he's been around a long time doing voice work and various things, and he unfortunately passed after this movie, and this movie is dedicated to him. That's it for the household names. As far as recognizable people, the only one that I knew was her name's Breck Bassinger. She's in the beginning, and she played Stargirl on the DC TV show. And that is about it for recognizable people that I saw.
Okay, well, R.I.P. Tony Todd, Candyman being one of my favorite movies.
And you like the remake too?
I got no cash, so sorry about that.
You wouldn't be able to help me out, sir?
Sorry.
We're all card carriers. Sorry, man. All right. That was an interruption of the podcast of someone trying to get some money from us, but back on track here.
Yes. Talking about Tony Todd, talking about Candyman, one of my favorite horror movies, one of my favorite movies overall, actually. It's great in its spookiness, and
He's a big part of that.
he is the Candyman.
He is the Candyman.
So, but back onto this movie. What is Final Destination Bloodlines all about? Well, brief synopsis of what Final Destination movies are. Basically, people who escape death. They're supposed to die, but they don't for one reason or another. Usually there's some kind of premonition involved. Somebody realizes
some kind of disaster.
Something's going to happen, and someone stops it from happening. They stop their own death. They stop a bunch of people's deaths. Anyway, that's what happened in this one. We flash back to, 1980 or
I'd say the
50s.
I'd say the 50s.
It was definitely
A long time
50s,
ago.
yeah.
Anyway, we get this kind of long opening scene, premonition.
Longest one in the series, I believe.
Yeah, where everything unfolds and a lot of people die, and then we find out it was just a premonition and someone survived that. So the woman who survives, I don't think it's a spoiler. It's like the grandmother of this family, who are the main characters of this movie. Basically, she has a premonition, saves all these people, and then becomes obsessed with cheating death and people who were supposed to die in that great disaster and didn't die, but then they all kind of started dying over the course of years. So she's kind of been obsessed with this, and then has realized that this is going to travel. Once she dies, it's going to travel down her family, and that brings in the family. We've got basically the main character is the granddaughter of this woman, Iris, and she basically starts having a premonition, and it's the same premonition that the grandmother had at the beginning of the movie. anyway, so the whole movie is trying to figure out what's going on. They figure out that that death is basically coming for the family, and and then it's how are people going to die? Are they going to die? Are they going to be able to escape death? And we work our way through the family, so to speak, and get our answers for each individual person.
The formula of a Final Destination movie.
Yes, very formulaic, true to its roots. But anyway, that's what the movie is about. It's nothing earth-shattering or groundbreaking for a Final Destination movie, but it is what it is. And Todd, you are who you are.
I am who I am.
What are your thoughts, your final thoughts, if you will, on Final Destination Bloodlines?
Sure. So I feel like I should start my review by saying that I've never been like the biggest fan of these movies. Like, these movies are not for me. Like, I can enjoy them enough to be like, well, that's creative death, like, and laugh at it and stuff like that. But otherwise, these type of movies invite the most annoying audience ever of people who cannot shut up. Every single scene, oh, what's going to happen? Oh my gosh. Like, it was the entire movie. And so this movie never had a shot with me. Like, I knew we were going to get the crowd that wouldn't shut up. I knew it was going to be all anxiety for me. And
Well,
just
that's what
being
those
like,
movies are.
and that's what they are. Like, so, I mean, in the fact, like, so it delivered. It is a Final Destination movie.
Yep.
Like, it didn't break the mold. It didn't really get too inventive, I thought. It just fit right nicely into what you expect from a Final Destination movie. Like, sure, the deaths get kind of elaborate, and that's a fun ride for a while and stuff like that. But at times I think these movies can be lazy because it's loose story strung by how crazy can we make this death. And there's a section of the world and audience for that, like, and that's fine, but we're not making Casablanca here. Like, we're not, and they don't try to. I mean, that's I think that's the good thing I can say about these movies. They know exactly what they're doing. They know where they fit in the world, and they don't try to go above and beyond. Like, they don't try to be like, I don't know. Like, they try in the sense that they made a movie, but they don't try. Like, they know exactly what they're going for, and they're not swinging for home runs here. Let's just say that. So, if you've ever watched a Final Destination movie and you were like, I liked that, then you should see this movie because if you've seen one, you've seen them all. Like, and at that point, you're acknowledging that you're a person who likes that anxiety and that anticipation and stuff like that. In that aspect, this movie completely delivers. Like, it is exactly what you want, and if that's up your alley, more power to you. It's just not me. I come because I want to have the enjoyment, and but I know it's going to be about an hour and 45 minutes of anxiety ridden, clenching my seat, rubbing my head, and being like, oh, gosh, just kill someone already. Like, and that happened several times. I was like, let's just get to the death. Like, we are building this up. I don't like the suspense. Just kill. Just kill. And I think that's the point of the movie. So, I mean, like, it hits its marks, and it does good. But, like, I wrestled through almost the entire movie of whether or not I was going to tell the people behind us to shut up. Like, it was on my mind every single scene. Like, and any time the movie started to draw me in, they would start talking, and I would just be like, oh my gosh. So it's not the movie's fault. No. I feel like it would be a higher rating for me if the movie theater experience was a lot better. But I almost feel like those people who talk to the movie through these type of movies, this is the movie for them to do that. So I almost feel like, like, I'm always going to believe in proper theater etiquette. Yep. But these type of movies invite that audience. So, I mean, I can't be too mad at it. It just ruins my experience, which, there you are. So the acting's fine. No one blew this out of the water as far as acting. It's all run-of-the-mill, paint-by-numbers when it comes to talking and acting and all this kind of stuff. I will say they quickly abandoned storylines very fast. Like, the crux of this movie starting are these bad dreams, premonitions, and they go away real fast and never get talked about again. And the character who's introduced is, I can't function in life because I'm not sleeping. And then all of a sudden, it's just, boom, I'm operating on all cylinders and I have no problems anymore. Like, So these are the type of movies that don't think about it. Like, if you're gonna go see it, turn your brain off and enjoy the carnage. Like, don't think about it. They don't hold up if you start thinking about it. They don't even follow their own rules if you think about it. Like, so, just go in. If you're gonna see this movie, which I think if it's up your alley, you like the other ones, then go see it. Absolutely, I'm gonna give you a thumbs up. If you're like my parents, like, I wouldn't say, "Hey, mom and dad, go see this movie. This is not up your alley."
Yeah, my parents either.
So, like, you know if you're one of these people who's going to see the movie, and if you have any inkling of being like, "I think I want to see that," then sure, there's no reason to not see it. I wouldn't say go see it. It's not bad. It just isn't for everyone. So, I think that's going to be my review. And I'm not going to say it on the air because I don't want to ruin anything. Not that there's that much to ruin. You can pretty much guess what's going to happen, but. I will say I liked the send-off for Tony Todd. Like, he gets a nice monologue, and that's kind of nice. I do think, and I've explained it to people in the car here, and if you want to know, reach out to me on social media. I'll be sure to answer. But I felt like there was a missed opportunity for a last Tony Todd scene. And I think I'm going to feel that way forever. So, but that's me. That's, I'm going to say go see it. If you want to. If you're my parents or other people who, don't get down on this stuff, then don't get down on it. It's not worth it. Like, you're not going to enjoy yourself. If you are certainly squeamish, you're not going to have a good time. So, now, if you love gore and all that kind of stuff and wild imagination involving gore, then this is for you. Absolutely. You should buy the whole box set when they make it. So, that's me. Matt?
Me?
Ooh.
Sorry, Tim?
Tim?
My bad.
You're skipping the design. That's not how it's supposed to.
Yeah. Sorry, Tim. You're next to that.
Yes. Well, I'll start my review by saying I will probably be getting that box set. As I mentioned before to these guys on the way into the movie, I would say Final Destination is probably my second favorite horror movie franchise, and I don't know why. I'm not really a horror guy.
Second to what?
Saw.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Okay. I just was curious.
Yeah.
I'm not questioning you. I was like, what takes that top spot?
And I don't know why, because I would argue I'm not the biggest horror guy.
You are not.
Either way. I like horror, I don't love it.
I think you like inventive horror.
Correct.
Like, I think it's the inventiveness of the Saw movies and Final Destination.
What works for me is it's not a demon or a monster or a killer or a slasher. It's household accidents or everyday objects, even if it's a big web of how all these things would come together to kill you. Is over the top, but I love that.
You have the perfect excuse to root for death.
Correct.
Like, death is almost the hero of the story. It's righting the rights, like setting the world on the right path of what was supposed to happen.
And it's all things that, like, even though, they probably couldn't happen, but they could in a very little minute, and that's what makes it kind of scary. So, and what I thought has always worked about it, and you touched on it, Todd, these movies build their anxiety very well. Mm-hmm. Where every scene, and I feel like each movie's gotten better because they've had to keep coming up with stuff. And it's like they'll show you a scene, and immediately you as the viewer are looking at everything.
Yeah,
You're looking
I
at
can't
every
see wind
set
chimes
design.
anymore. Like, this franchise has ruined wind chimes for me.
This set design is everything. You look at every possible object that could kill somebody or do even cause a chain reaction. And I think that's brilliant because it makes you pay attention to the movie, even if you're not listening to the characters, because it's really like, something's going to happen here. And it's just, and I think that's the beauty of these movies is that you're always kind of tuned in. If you came for that, it'll give you that all the way through.
Absolutely.
Now, I will say what was interesting about this one is a super long intro premonition where it was like, and it's probably the most high scale one they've done as far as the amount of people who die or were going to. And because and I don't think it's spoilers to go through this because it's the beginning of each movie. One was a simple, a plane blowing up. Two was a horrible pileup on the highway. 3 was the roller coaster breaking apart. 4 was a NASCAR race disaster. Mm-hmm. And 5 was a suspension bridge breaking apart. And those were all like, kind of everyday things here. And this was a kind of almost over the top skyscraper restaurant collapsing and blowing up. And it was really well done, I thought, where all the little things that cause it to happen
our very Final Destination, where just little details go to this, and you're watching the whole movie. All right, what happens? What's going to happen next? And
Very inventive, for sure.
and that's what they're always great at. And I was always wondering, I was like, what's the next disaster going to be? Because that's what these movies kind of hang on. And what I also appreciate about this movie is if you've seen a lot of them, there were little throwbacks and callbacks, and there was a log truck at one point. There was a bus. They teased things that had happened to other characters in other movies. You didn't have to know that to appreciate the scares, but if you did, it was like, oh, that's cute little throwback, and this time it didn't kill them, but maybe something else will. And I feel like the producers of this movie knew their audience, like you said, Todd, played to it, played it with expectations, played with, some of the franchise tropes, so to speak, and even played against some of their tropes just to keep you guessing. And I think that's where they even get away with playing with their rules, because they know you know the rules, and they explain the rules to you, so they're like, well, let's play with that too. And for me, that's fun. And like I said, in general, the franchise to me has been a lot of fun. The fourth one is the weakest one, where it became a parody of itself, and that's okay. But this one, I was worried about going in, because I was like, without getting the spoilers, 5 closed the loop, so to speak, and the story was almost pretty much done. This one, I thought, was a worthy idea and clever enough to be a new entry. I don't think we need any more, but it was a great new little spin-off that I think is true to the franchise and fits right in with everything else, while being very loosely connected, although they did name drop something that I hope they follow up on if they do a sequel. So I would be down for another one. I do enjoy this franchise a lot. Like you said, the acting is what it is. It's usually a bunch of no-name people or people who've only been on a couple things, and then they move on from here and do bigger things, and that happens a lot with this franchise. I don't know if it'll happen here, but it's still, but it will miss Tony Todd going forward, who, even though his character was never a huge part of it, he kind of was the anchor character who kind of helped the characters sort of get through what's going on.
Yeah, I would say he's pretty synonymous with the franchise.
Yeah, he was the big name to kind of give it some legitimacy when it first came out, and he will be missed. And I thought, like you said, he gave him a nice little goodbye scene where it was clear he was sick, but they gave the characters, they made him sick too, so it was kind of a way to send him off as well as the character. And I thought that was a nice little thing to do, which this franchise doesn't do a lot of nice things, so to speak, but I thought that was a nice little tribute. So I did enjoy this movie, and it will be reflected in my review. And now we'll go to Mr. Horror, Mr. Creative Deaths, Matt.
Yes, well, I did like this movie. It was a fun ride. Todd, you nailed it. The story was all over the place.
Yeah, that's about typical for these.
But
it's not why you come.
That's not why we were here. I think I've seen 2 of the movies,
yes.
The first 2.
Yep.
No more than that, but this was fun. I really enjoyed the elaborate opening scene. Lots of fun intricacies, and yeah, the best thing about these movies is the kind of little clues that are dropped about what's about to happen.
Yeah.
And Tim, you nailed it when you said it keeps you really focused and paying attention to what's going on in the movie. I think that's to the movie's credit. That doesn't always happen in horror movies,
right.
That they lay it out so clearly as they do here, that something's about to happen with the vending machine or the MRI machine or whatever it,
or just
whatever
a
it is.
pen on a desk or a beer can.
Yep.
And it's just simple stuff.
Well,
and you're watching everything.
The hard part for me, which I think is the most enjoyable part for you guys, is that they start something,
yes.
and then there is no time limit. Like, there is
Correct.
no standard time.
And
it could be quick, it could be long. I'm like,
and that's been through the franchise as well. Some deaths happen, boom, and the others are 5 minutes long, and you're just waiting, and then the whole scene stops and moves on to something else, and that's what kills them. And I think that's what is fun about it. They always keep just when you think you've got it.
Yeah, and they did a good job of playing with that too, and being like, oh, that actually didn't kill them, or
and then boom, something happens.
right.
And it's it's not an out of left field thing. It'll be still something like, oh, that was in the background too, right? Okay, know, and they do a good job with it's still plausible enough, even if it's silly and exaggerated.
Right. So yeah, I don't have a lot more to add to what you guys have already said. If you like this style of movie, for sure watch it. I enjoyed myself.
Yeah, it's not for everybody.
Had a good time, but I am a big fan of crazy deaths in movies and a little bit of gore and
This had both.
you know, this had them.
It's had a lot of both.
Had a lot of both. So yeah, so that's where I'll leave it.
Fair enough. Well, getting down to it, how many Pacos the Turtle would you give this movie? Which this turtle gets mentioned a lot in this movie for it not to be involved in a death, which I think is one of the biggest missteps of this movie. Was that it's almost like a challenge. Like if I was writing these movies, I'd be like, okay, I'd pick an object out of a bowl.
Yes.
And I'd be like, how do I build a death around this one
And
object?
who knows if they do that?
And man, I really was pulling for a turtle death somehow. Like I was really like, you keep mentioning this darn turtle. Like, obviously 0 being the worst because then you got no Pacos and that's rough. Like, and 5 being the best because that's great. You could have 5 creative deaths with a turtle. Like they could all be different. It could be amazing. So, Matt,
Could be amazing. Well, I'm going to go with 3 Paco the Turtles out of 5. Like I said, this was a fun ride. I enjoyed myself. I wasn't too distracted by what was going on in the theater.
Yeah, that didn't bother me.
I'd say if this style of movie is up your alley, go see it.
fair. Tim,
Well, like I said, I'm a little bit biased because this franchise is one of my favorite things. This one isn't one of the best, but it is pretty good as far as we're years later and it's a new idea. So I give him props for that. So for me, it's a 3.4.
nice. You know, and I'm happy for you, Tim, that you're so into a franchise. And
There aren't that many horror
That
franchises.
doesn't happen
There aren't that many horror
very
franchises.
much nowadays where a franchise really delivers, and you're like, oh yeah, like
Yeah, this was I like I said, I had reservations, but I think they came up with enough cleverness for this to exist.
I'm hoping we go 2 for 2, and next week when we see Mission
Impossible.
Impossible,
Oh my gosh.
it is a nice
I'm so excited for that, too.
conclusion to that.
Yep.
Well, I mean, like, again, these movies aren't for me. I can appreciate what they do and how they go for it, the creativeness. So it's not like it's going to get a bad rating, but it was never going to be
High for you.
high for me. And like I said, I really appreciate what they go for. I'm going to land on a 2.7. And that's not
That's
like,
high for you in horror.
Yeah. I mean, like that's like, I feel like that's a good rating for this movie.
It is
for
actually.
me. And like I said, I think if you dig these movies at all, or even if you're just looking for a creative, deadly outlet, like sure, this movie will deliver on all points if that's what you're looking for. So that's great. You should go see it, like if that's your thing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we conclude, just a brief shout out to the couple making out on the car next to us.
Yes.
Oh, is that what they were doing? I kept looking over. And
At
first
their
they were
bag of
chatting and
food is
chilling,
very
but yeah.
strategically placed, and I can't see what's going on.
Yeah.
Well,
Having a
we've
good
had a
time.
tweaker ask us for money,
Yep.
who was very much tweaking out of his mind.
Yes, he was.
And then we got a makeup couple. It's been an eventful evening here at
It
the old
has.
Regal Cinemas.
That's right. So we take it all in here at the Matt and Todd Go to the Movies podcast. Whatever's happening
You
in the
can too
parking
by
lot.
listening to it.
Yeah.
That's right. We're here to give you the deets on what's going down at the parking lot.
I do have to say one last thing that
Oh,
I
please.
think I was uncomfortable how long it took me to recover from the first scene because I have a thing with heights.
Oh yeah.
And that played
And they
into
played that really well.
real hard. And I was like, at times I was like, am I gonna bounce back from this? Like,
Yeah.
I was like, this is still lingering
Well,
with me.
and I'll again, it's praise to how they construct these wild premonition scenes. I mean, it's safe to say that number 2 scarred a generation because no one drives behind
No one
a log
drives
truck
behind log trucks anymore. Yeah.
And
I would say that's the
think,
most famous.
To me, the
of
pileup,
the franchise.
is the most gritty.
Yeah.
Oh my god, of all of them. Even though a roller coaster falling apart is kind of a nightmare, and a plane blowing up, of course, but like something about the car pileup is
Yeah,
just
I would say
so visceral.
that's the most.
So visceral.
That's the biggest death synonymous with the franchise. to me.
Yeah. That whole movie, that whole opening sequence is the number 1. But this one, I think, was pretty darn great, and and a more over the top one. I thought it was still wow. Like,
Well, and you know what?
Titanic level destruction.
Not going to elaborate, but laws come into play again. You know, like they know what their strong suit
They
is.
knew their audience.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say.
They know
For
yeah.
some of the shots.
Oh my gosh, I thought of the Titanic too when there
Yes.
were people hitting the
Yes.
things on the way down. I was like, oh, that's right.
I was like, this is the R-rated version of that. Like, oh boy.
Because everyone remembers the poor soul who falls and hits the
Boom.
rudder on the way down.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
everyone remembers that guy from Titanic.
Yeah. I thought this movie like just took some more of that and said, ooh, oh boy.
Final destination on a cruise ship. Boom.
Yeah. Oh, that's probably the
Called
next thing.
Hollywood,
one
Hollywood,
more.
are you listening?
I
There it
mean,
is.
they could make another.
If we
one.
can do Speed 2 on a boat,
Right.
we can have a final destination on a boat.
That's very true. Plenty of
Yes.
things to kill you on a boat.
Did you guys hear
Go.
about the advertisements that they were
Yes.
doing for this movie?
I saw they were
Where
having
they
log
put them-
trucks
Oh, yes.
with the banner on the bottom.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
I'm really happy I didn't see any of those in real life.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. I would have had to pull over.
We
and
don't
be like,
get a lot of-
I'm going to give it a 5 to 10 minutes until this
Yeah.
thing's down the road before I get back on the road.
This
We
movie.
don't have a lot of vlogging here in Maryland.
Yeah.
No, that was. Woo.
Okay.
Not as good as Smile. The Smile advertising.
Oh, that's fair too.
Just was mwah, chef's kiss.
Yes, people
Amazing.
at video at sports games and everything.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
All right.
Well, that is going to wrap it up for this episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies, where we review the movie Final Destination Bloodlines. And we gave it an average rating of 3.03 repeating, which is a decent rating.
Yep.
And I think our mindset is that you should see this if you like this type of movie. And
Not for everybody, but you will probably enjoy it if you are, like you said, keyed into it.
Yep.
You know if you're going to see this movie or not.
Yep.
Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And
This
if you were
isn't- this
if you were
isn't a
skeptical,
surprise.
if you were
Yeah.
skeptical like me, I'm saying
Yeah,
it is a worthy entry.
I would say the consensus is if you were like, oh, I like the others, but I don't know how they're going to bring it back and how they're going to make it work or whatever.
I think they did a great job.
They did a great job with it. Like, in that aspect, it's a home run to me. Like,
Because even if you like the lore and stuff, it was a clever new entry.
yeah, to revisit something after so many years and have it be not only faithful but
Yes.
innovative and good, you know,
It's
like
pretty
deserves a better, higher rating than I gave it. But
No, but again, that's your
me.
gut reaction.
Yeah.
Mhm, yeah. There you go.
All right.
now we just need Tom Cruise to get us 2 for 2 for next
Come
week.
through.
Yes.
And,
Listen,
Ralph
listen.
Macchio.
Oh, and
Is that
Karate Kid's the week after.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh. Well, in fairness, I'm not the biggest Karate Kid franchise
Nor am I. But
fan
that's all right.
either. I mean, Daniel LaRusso is one of the worst characters in a movie, period.
But I love Jackie, so
Yes, for sure. Pat Morita, IIP. Yeah.
yeah,
I love Pat.
we'll get there.
I mean, who wasn't a fan of Mr. Miyagi? Everyone
of
hated
course. Who
Daniel,
doesn't
but
love
everyone
Miyagi?
loved Mr. Miyagi.
Sure.
We all need a Mr. Miyagi in our lives.
In our lives, that's right. But that's future content right now.
Future content, yes. Now, this content that you're listening to, thank you for listening to it. Please continue to listen to this episode over and over and over again, and future episodes and past episodes.
Yeah, and we just had premonitions on what we're going to see in the next couple of
There
weeks.
you go.
That's
what
right.
it
That I'm pretty positive are going to come true.
was. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, so, subscribe, download, do all those things, and we will see you next time.
Da 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 da
Da-da.
da da da.
Da-da-da.